Okay, so this is the dice project, and we're going to learn how to UV using just simple dice. So we just kind of need a cube real quick. Let's resize this. Just grab it here by the middle, size it, let's move this up, and there we go. That should do it. All right, and now we need to select all the edges because we don't want this perfectly cut. It should look like it has some rounded edges. So I'm just holding shift and selecting all the edges. And now we're going to use the bevel tool. So just hit Control B, and now here's the poly bevel tool. Change this to 0.1, and you can have the chamfer on, chamfer off. I leave it off. If I hit 3, this is what it'll look like. This is pretty much what we need. We're good to go on this. So let's bring that back, and we're good with that. We don't need the poly bevel anymore. Okay, and now we're going to start UVing. I like to change this to UV editing. What's great about it is everything comes up. Both screens come up. This is a great layout to do UV. And yeah, just switch your modeling mode to UV editing, and then we'll get started. What's great about this viewpoint is that you can see how it flattened out all the geometry. It kind of just peeled apart this cube. All right, we'll go over a little bit of the tools. Right now, if you right click on this, you can click on UV shell. This is considered a UV shell. It's basically a shell of this. But yeah, there's other component modes, vertex, edge, face. And right now this is one singular UV shell. We're going to go ahead and separate these. So now let's separate all of these. Let's just click on edge, and then let's zoom in. Let's hold shift, and now this all is selected. We can use these UV toolkit right here, cut and sew. Just drop down menu, and then just hit cut, and then right click, go back to UV shell, and now you'll see it's a completely separate shell from this one. And so go ahead and show it one more time. Click on edge, and we'll just hold shift and double click, and then cut right here, a UV shell. Now it's all separated. I'm going to go and pause the video and separate the rest. Do that. I'm going to show you exactly where I'm going to separate first. So I'll separate here and make this a shell, and then I'll separate here. So make sure you are selecting the right geometry here and here, and that way you can separate them properly. So let me go ahead and do that. You see all these shells are properly separated. I also want to point out that anything you select over here also gets selected over here, because this, again, we're projecting. We're going to be projecting things onto this cube. So, and even if I was to click on the edge and select a particular edge, you can see how it's selected over here. And that's what's great about the UV modeling workspace. A quick way to kind of just understand what UVing is, it's an extension to the Cartesian coordinates, your x and right here, this little dongle, the x and y plane, and then you have a z plane. Z is the vertical plane, your x and y is your your two-dimensional plane. And UVing refers to this plane, this type of view, the U and the V. And to understand where the U and the V is, or the V and the U are, the V is always for like vertical. So this would be the V plane, and then this will be the U plane. And that's the simplest way I can explain it. So your V is for vertical, your U, you can memorize it by thinking underneath this model. And that's what that is. So you have your X, Y, and Z and your modeling over here, but UVing, when we start to put the mappings on top of these, um, this is what they came up with in order to describe this area, this space, UV. Hopefully that helps. So we're done with this. We are going to use the transform, and this is in the toolkit basically how to move things in this UV. And so we'll go over that right now. And so first things to kind of know is that when you UV, it's usually in this 1x1 space right here. Most of your jobs are going to be like that. And so we're going to kind of stick to that when we're doing this. So we select all of this. Here is some pivot points where you can use to help move this. You can, right here is where you can use, it literally says move. So it'll move in 0.1 increments. You can change this, we can put 0.3 and it'll move even further. But let's just change this back to 0.1 for now. And we'll start. So step snap, kind of the same thing. You can turn it on and off by clicking this down arrow. Okay, next we're going to go over the rotate tool. Defaultly, it looks like it's set to 90. You can change it to 45 or whatever degree you need. And you can rotate your UV however you like. Again, it really depends on the situation. You could also change the scale. I want to mention one thing on the rotate. It also has a step snap as well. You can turn that on and then at 15 degrees. But we'll turn that off right now. But I wanted to mention that choose an increment that is a multiplier of 90 degrees. So like 45 is half of 90 degrees. 30 is, if you multiply that by 3, it'll be 90 degrees. 15, you kind of get the idea. And just to kind of point that highlight a point and why it's important to use this right here. If you were to use the rotate tool, it'd be much harder to do to try and rotate this using the mouse. There's no way you can accurately rotate this. Let me just undo that. Unless you had something like this. And you can ensure that it will rotate 90 degrees, 45 degrees, whatever amount of rotation you need. Oh, there it is. So here's my pivot point. I can change my pivot points to wherever I want. I'll just leave it in the middle for now. Okay, right now, I think it my always defaults to 2 times. But if I hit this button right here, and you'll notice right here, U and V are selected. But if you hold Shift, you can select both of them. They're defaultly set to both. But if I hit that, it increases the size by double. I can do I can increase the size of one versus the other. So like if I hit this, you can see that it increases the size of the V, but not the U, and vice versa. If I was to do this, um, oh, you don't necessarily have to hold Shift. It just says just have it. Wrong, wrong software. Then I'm sure. And then just click on this button, and you can see how you can utilize this. So that, and then there's also the step snap for scaling as well. Um, you can turn that on. You can change this to whatever you need in increments, but just go ahead and leave that off for now. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is flip. So this will flip in particular directions. And so we might not be able to see the U because, this is very symmetrical, but we can try and flip the V so you can see it does flip. Again, we're not going to see the horizontal, but we'll definitely see the vertical. And that's flip. I probably should just rotate it so you can see how I can flip on the U. There you go. Let's just rotate back. I don't need it like that. So something that is used quite often is rotate, and then a lot of these move tools. So this is pretty much the majority of the different tools in the transform tools we're going to cover. We'll go over textile density. I'll give you a brief description right now. So what textile density is that when you go to project a texture on one of these faces, this ensures that the scale remains the same on whatever face I'm projecting objects on or materials on. And that's important because you don't want the scale to be correct and the scale just be way too big and it just doesn't make sense. And so that's what textile density is. All right, so that is transform. Now let's get into create. Now this what this does is it kind of takes the UV shells out of this order and rearranges them. Like if I hit automatic or planar, these are kind of the ones I would stick to. So if you see automatic, it kind of just rearranges everything, which this isn't bad, but we can rearrange it better. What's great about automatic is that it's supposed to automatically come up with the best UVing arrangements. Um, Sometimes that can mess up, especially if you're doing like characters and stuff like that. It's best to use planar or manually do it yourself. But here's what it is. So if I hit automatic and I zoom out, you can see the projection planes where it's kind of like a cube. And this is how the mapping works.